What's up? Welcome back. If you're new, my name is Corey. I'm a freelance art director and graphic designer. And if you're not new, of course, thank you for coming back as usual. Today, I am going to run through all my best tips and tricks and all of the above on how to get new clients for any client services based entrepreneur, freelancer, whomever. This could apply to plenty of different areas, but because, I'm all about graphic design and art direction, we're going to talk about that. So please stay tuned to the end. I definitely think I'll be able to offer you something that you have not seen in all the other videos that you watched on the same topic. And if not, then I've delivered it in a way you can understand, at least, at minimum. So I'm going to break this into two different types of tips. I have tips on how you can make yourself more attractive to your ideal client, and then tips on how to go get them, where to find them, whatever. If you're anything like me, when I first started freelancing, I was looking up and down the internet on specific places that I could find new clients. And I think that the place does matter. Of course, where to get them matters, but how prepared you are once you do find them, or being ready to attract those clients instead of having to chase them all the time, that's equally as important. And so my very first tip would be to know your ideal client like the back of your hand. In graphic design and art direction, your audience is key, it's major. And so the same thing applies here. This will be your North Star to help you understand how to market yourself. I'd go as far as to even create personas for your ideal client. So you'll want to give them a name, you'll want to give them a career, industry, whatever. You'll want to give them a budget, hobbies and interests, what they like to do in their free time, how many kids they have, all those things. Everything you learned about this ideal client will help guide you in plenty other areas and all the other questions that you have about marketing yourself. So like, where is it best to market yourself? What's the best type of service offering or part of your process that's important for you to highlight, because that's a huge pain point for them? What is it exactly that they want from you? For example, people question all the time whether they should keep their work/business and their personal life separate. Me personally, my ideal client would want someone who is less button-ups and slacks, more sneakers and jeans, someone who can speak their language, create a fun, comfortable, welcoming environment, but still know what they're talking about. And so that means that them knowing the person is equally as important as the work being good. Therefore, I'm showing both my work and my person together. They're going to know who they are working with before they get to work with me, before they even ask. That's specific to me because my North Star, my ideal client, calls for that. Yours may be different, and so it's important that you get to know who your ideal client is. Speaking their language, you'll also know exactly how to communicate with them. And on that note, we will go into my second tip, which is choose your language wisely. Learn how to talk about what you do in a way that aligns with your ideal client. For example, if you want higher paying clients in the event industry, I personally would not say that I make party flyers. No problem if you do. If that's what your target client is, then that's what it is. However, a higher paying client will probably respond better to or be more attracted to someone who develops event marketing materials for digital and print. The language matters. So definitely take some time to think about what the offering is and how you can communicate it in a way that aligns with who you're talking to. My third tip is to pick a niche. I know everyone hates hearing that. Pick a niche. I really don't care. I promise you, you will find greater long-term success if you niche down. You don't want to be a Jack or Jane of all trades, though that might seem like the better route to take because it broadens kind of your chances of obtaining more clients. It also opens you up to a ton of small gigs, a very unsustainable client work to income ratio. And then on top of that, you won't really have an expertise. So when you do niche down, you're able to select an area of work that you're really good at or that you will become really good at. And therefore, you're an expert of this one thing rather than having no expertise in a whole bunch of things, if that makes sense. Some examples of design niches are designer for women-owned businesses, web designer for client service-based businesses, book cover designer, graphic designer for mental health professionals, so on. The list goes on, but I would definitely pick an area or a topic to focus on. Like, you can literally do the same exact or have the same skill set as the next designer, but your focus is on this particular industry. You know this industry well, you know what they need, you know what kind of audiences they have, so on and so forth. Become the expert in your niche. Having a niche also makes people a little more comfortable with booking with you because to them it feels like you are an expert in exactly what it is they need. Now on to the stuff that you probably really want to know. How to find these clients. where they at? We're going to jump right into it because I know you all know this one. I've said it a couple times before and everyone will tell you this, but social media is your friend. Duh, of course. But a little more specific on social media, I'll start with LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the type of platform that you can use if you're looking for longer term contracts. I'm talking 3, 6, 12-month contracts with larger, more established companies or organizations. Applying to contract roles on LinkedIn will be exactly like applying to jobs on LinkedIn. Whatever these companies require of you to land these long-term contracts is basically just what you'll have to set yourself up for. You will need to make sure that your profile is optimized for the role that you're looking for because they are looking at your LinkedIn profile as well. It's no big deal, really. I like looking on LinkedIn for long-term contracts, though I am not necessarily in a place where I prefer long-term contracts, but it's still freelancing. Don't shy away from it. It still offers a level of flexibility, and I highly recommend going that route. Now, moving into your more common, daily, casual, whatever social media platforms, these will be your Instagram, your TikTok, your Pinterest, and your Twitter. I would use these platforms as a place to show up consistently and remind people that you're there and this is what you do. I would also highly recommend using these places as somewhere to showcase your passion projects because you don't always have the space for them in your portfolio necessarily, but they do great on social. People don't care if it was a real client or not when they see it on social media. It's just a place for you to show people what it is you can do. The more consistently you show up, the more people will remember you for being able to do XYZ skill. If my lighting is changing here, I apologize. It's raining, it's ugly, we're gonna push forward. TikTok, in my opinion, is a great place for marketing your business, your freelancing, whatever right now. I personally think that algorithm, you never know where it's going to pick you up and where it's going to drop you off. I have personally gotten plenty of clients from TikTok, just from like random TikToks that I made that have gotten pushed by the algorithm, or even my TikToks that have like 3 likes on them. People have sent them directly to me in an email like, hey, I saw this, let's work. I like TikTok for that reason. Another thing I don't see a lot of people talk about is the use of Twitter and again, LinkedIn, but I'm specifying Twitter because Twitter is all fun and jokes and things like that, but it is a great place for you to not only show your work, but to establish expertise in your field. You can use these spaces to comment on relevant trending topics in your industry or in your niche even. So if you are a web designer, you can focus on that, graphic designer, whatever. Or if you want to talk about design as a whole, whatever it is that you want to talk about, you would choose relevant trending topics to kind of insert yourself into that conversation, add your 2 cents where it may fit. A very good example of this is the launch of the We Love New York City or We Heart New York City, whatever campaign that was intended to revitalize the city of New York post-pandemic. It was so polarizing. Well, the branding itself was so polarizing that everyone had commentary on it. It was just a huge thing online at the time. I think things like that and even smaller topics are great opportunities for you to join those conversations and kind of establish yourself in that industry. It builds credibility, it builds familiarity, and it also personally for you helps you get comfortable talking about what it is that you do with confidence. Next, of course, I'm going to talk about referrals and networking. This is self-explanatory. The more people you work with, the more they'll be willing to refer you to other people who are looking for design work or whatever it is that you've done for them. On top of that, networking, both formal and informal, will get you a long way. Go outside, meet some people, go to the creative events in your city, even go to the parties. I'm telling you, meet somebody who does something even remotely close to what you're doing. Maybe not the exact same thing, but even the exact same thing. I have a network of friends who are also designers. I'm not necessarily into the execution of design. I'm more into art direction, but we all typically do the same things, and I'm able to hand off work to them. They're able to hand off work to me. We can work together. If I work on a long-term project with someone and by the end of our project, they're looking to have a video produced or something, I have a network of video production people that I can reach out to. And so all of that really matters. Just build your network. I think you should be really, really intentional with that, especially if you're in a major city. It is so easy to do, especially if you hate networking, hate people, hate talking. I'm right there with you. We here. This is probably the spookiest thing on this list, and that will be cold calling or cold emailing. If for some reason you do not know or do not understand why it's so spooky, cold calling and cold emailing is literally just reaching out to people and saying, hey, I do this service and you should work with me, and here's why you should pay me to do it for you. They didn't ask you. They didn't ask for your help, but you're going to go out to them and tell them that they need you. and this is why, and you dare them to tell you otherwise. This is low-key kind of frightening, and it does involve pitching, and so not a lot of people like doing it. However, I think a really easy way to get into it is to go ahead and take a quick stroll or drive, or a long stroll or drive through your area and make a list of businesses that you could potentially work with. I would advise going with smaller businesses if you're just dipping your toe in the water. And then go home, make your list, organize it, and reach out to these people. You'll want to make sure your pitch is on point. You don't want to just hit them up with some BS. Make sure, you're coming at them correctly and you really want to help them, and make sure it's something that you think you actually can do and have the time for. All of that, obviously self-explanatory. Some of these businesses may have smaller budgets or no budget at all, but if you are new to freelancing or you're just having a really dry season and have no clients coming in, I would not stray away from that. I definitely think this is a good opportunity for you to, one, practice pitching, but two, also develop relationships that could turn into long-term relationships with higher paychecks. And it'll obviously get you more referrals if you do a great job with this business. It does work. Trust me. I just recently, literally last week, for a separate project, but I reached out to a bunch of businesses in regards to branding, and a few of them did contact me immediately after. So try it. If you need help with structuring your pitch email or figuring out how to ease your way into that conversation, I do have a structure that may help you, and that will be in this video up here. Last but not least, let's talk about gig sites. I know all of us have tried or have heard of at least Fiverr, Upwork, and the like, but let's, think a little broader. We have things like Thumbtack, we have TaskRabbit, we have Craigslist. Yeah, Craigslist. I said it. Those are all websites or apps that have gig sections or are focused on gig work, where people are on there looking for design work. I would not lie to you. They're there. On platforms like Upwork and Fiverr, I do find a lot of people get a little more frustrated with those because the intent is specifically for the work that you're trying to do. So everyone and their mother is on there offering the same service, and there's only but so many people looking for work, or you're relying on an algorithm or something like that to get you to that person. With these other apps and websites that I've listed, you're able to directly contact the person searching for work. The apps often will let you know when someone is looking for something that directly aligns with you, things like that. This is a great place to go to get some work. I would not look past it. When I first started freelancing, I was all up and through Craigslist, and not just in New York where I live. I was in Austin, Atlanta, San Francisco, LA. I was in everybody's Craigslist. I don't care who it was, what city it was. I was in there. I was going down to the gig section, and I was typing in the search bar, graphic design, whatever work I wanted to do, I was in there. Now, of course, that being said, please have some discernment when using any gig site. Especially Craigslist. Of course, Craigslist does not have a service where they offer any protection on your behalf. So of course, use it wisely, but I was successful on there. And so I'm just saying it's an option. When it comes to gig sites, I would think about websites like Upwork and Fiverr, but maybe ones that are less common when it comes to design work, or less talked about rather, because they do specifically offer that service on TaskRabbit, Thumbtack, etc. That is all I have for right now. Hopefully that was helpful to you. If it was, please leave a comment below. If you have other suggestions for other people, also comment below. I would love to hear more about your journeys in freelancing, or any help you need or struggles you may be having. I will meet y'all down there. If you've watched more than one of my videos and you're not subscribed, don't be a hater. I will see you in the next video though, because I know you'll be back. Bye.